For years, Britain's been trying to prove it still matters on the world stage, but Donald Trump's Pentagon just drew a clear line. When it comes to power projection, London should prioritize Europe, not Asia. An exclusive report from the Financial Times reveals that Elbridge Colby, the US Undersecretary for Defense and the third most senior official in the Pentagon, has just told British officials that the UK should scale back its military role in the Indo-Pacific and concentrate instead on the Euro-Atlantic area. Colby raised concerns about the Royal Navy's current 8-month carrier strike group deployment, led by HMS Prince of Wales, to the region. In his view, Britain should focus on securing its own neighborhood, not patrolling the Pacific. This marks a major departure from Biden-era policy. The Biden administration encouraged European allies to take a more active role in Asia. It promoted the idea of joint deterrence against China and closer coordination between European and Indo-Pacific partners. The Trump administration's policy reversal reflects a fundamental change in how US strategy is being defined. Elbridge Colby has argued for several years that the US should prioritize preventing Chinese dominance in Asia above all else. He believes that American military power must be concentrated in the Indo-Pacific. Anything that dilutes that focus is seen as a risk. Washington now expects European allies to take on far more responsibility for their own defense. That includes handling the Russian threat without US support. But concerns over Europe's military capabilities aren't new. Its chaotic intervention in Libya in 2011 revealed just how unprepared the continent was to direct hard power without US leadership and support. Yet, in the current geopolitical environment, it's widely recognized this has to change. For one, Colby believes the US does not have the capacity to fight two major wars at the same time. During his Senate confirmation, he called the US Armed Forces a one-war military, arguing that every unit, dollar, and decision must be directed toward deterring China, not split across secondary fronts. As a result, sending British carriers to the Pacific is not an effective use of limited Allied resources. His position is that these deployments do little to alter the balance of power in Asia and weaken Europe's readiness. This kind of strategic triage could define US alliance policy going forward. For the UK, the timing is awkward. Its entire post-Brexit foreign policy has leaned heavily on expanding its global presence, especially in the Indo-Pacific. From the 2021 Carrier Strike Group mission to the AUKUS submarine deal, London has tried to prove it remains a serious power beyond Europe. The UK has invested in regional facilities, committed to regular deployments, and strengthened ties with partners like Japan and Australia. In 2023, it even discussed coordinated naval activity with France to maintain a European presence in the Pacific. But this whole vision has always relied on a green light from Washington. And under Trump, that light may be turning red. If the US wants Britain focused on Europe, then London's Indo-Pacific ambitions suddenly look out of step. UK parliamentary reports have already flagged that Britain's military presence in Asia is modest and stretched thin. Now, with the US pivoting away from global coalition building, the pressure to rethink that posture is mounting. This isn't just about where Britain sends its ships. It's about how America sees the world and what it expects from its allies. Biden's strategy treated the Atlantic and Pacific as two sides of the same geopolitical struggle. The idea was unity, one network of democracies pushing back against China and its authoritarian partners. Trump's team is taking a very different approach. Let Europe handle Europe, while the US focuses on China. Critics say this will weaken deterrence and fracture unity, especially as China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea work together across the globe. But Colby's thinking is straightforward. Concentrate force where it counts, or risk losing over the long term. If this becomes policy, and it already is starting to, countries like Britain will have to move fast. The era of global ambitions may be closing, not because London wants to retreat, but because Washington has redrawn the map.